right. Good evening, everybody, here on the East Coast of the U.S. My name is Todd Bright. Welcome to Redline Live, all ingesters, feedback, and Q&A session here on Wednesdays. So I'm checking my member chat. Who's here? RW's here. Iggy Fox, I know it's you, Mohi. All right. And Miss Erica Bay. And I see some people over on Instagram. Welcome, welcome. And YouTube. Awesome. All right. Well, this is the evening that for me it's evening. For you it's the morning or the middle of the night or the afternoon in California. We go over our some drawings to do some feedback and Q&A. So for those of you who are on Instagram, please dial in the questions. And also YouTube and Facebook page. Awesome. Anyway, hope you guys have been having a good week. And yeah, good to see you guys. Thanks for coming in tonight. We got a lot of drawings to go over, as usual, which is good. So thank you for our fearless members who have submitted your work this week. Trying to think if there's any housekeeping, but I don't think so. All right, let's do this thing. Let me push some buttons and move some things around. All right, who is up first? Well, Erica's here, so we're going to take a look at some of Erica's drawings, shall we? All right, here we go. Alrighty. Some nice stuff this week, Erica. Really nice. I can see you've been doing that brush pen. I'm a big fan. I think it's a brush pen, right? Yeah. Really nice. Let's see here. Let's make sure everybody's in the windows here. All right, very good. Okay, so what we got here? All right, so this week our theme was was one of our mermaid-inspired themes, which was memory. Having a hard time remembering. Anyway, and we went with a graduation day, basically. So the ceremony, getting ready for the ceremony, I think, and going out after with friends, and that was kind of our idea as far as trying to tackle the theme of memory. And we had a really great time. Model did a great job. So anyway, just get everybody caught up. Here we go. So what do we got here? Very nice. The lean is a little bit much. Let's just get into it. Gotta watch those. Push the buttons here. I gotta watch the balance of the pose. Other than that, it's very sweet. I always like to encourage you guys to draw through as well. But you have really good attitude, I think. You got that nice balance there. Let's see. Let's see here. Yeah, I like all the angles and things from your shoulders. I'm just trying to calm down the lean just a little bit. We're always talking about pushing things, right? But we also want to make sure that the drawing as a whole is on balance, okay? And I'm trying to get dialed in here. This came from a baseball game. And that was a lot of fun. Let's see here. I'm just going to draw a little light here, but so I'm always talking about in class, Erica, how I like to draw the head last. It's not like a rule or anything, and I don't always follow it myself, but I've found that I do that naturally after drawing a lot because it helps to establish my balance. So if I had the head, I try to relate it to where the feet are placed. So I'm going to put it about here, just to make sure she doesn't fall over. I like the you have a little bit of a twist there, just a little bit. I like that. That gives a nice kind of a coy kind of a thing. But yeah, and all that to say, let's see here. Yeah, it's showing up, good. I think we could stand and move some things over just a little bit here. There we go. All right, who's in there from Instagram? Welcome, welcome. Just checking that thing. Any questions tonight, let me know. All right. And for those of you who are new joining us, checking it out, this is our feedback session from All in Gesture, which is our weekly live workshop. It's live on Saturdays, but it's recorded. And we're just doing some feedback from our members have submitted some drawings. There we go. Anyway, let's say balance. You want to follow that plumb line of the head. So I'm going to draw just a line through the whole thing. So like if you were to drop a line, there it goes. And that's why here it's just a little off balance. Just a little bit. Okay? But yeah, that's all. This one is very cool. I could see you were pushing some energy in it. I would just say go for it. You know, just a little bit more. I think I might be drawing. Let's see. Correctly here. Hang on one second. Let's check in a tech thing. Sorry, guys. Yeah, we're good. Lead with that action. I think we were talking about this not too long ago. But in animation, we're always talking about what's leading the action, right? When you're doing some kind of a big motion like this, especially. She had that skirt on, I remember. Let's see. But just go ahead and really give it a good lean. Like you've already got her leg kicked back, right? So just like give that forward momentum and really lead with her chest there. But I like the attitude with your arms and all that stuff, and I love the leg kicking back, but really just think of that line of action for the whole, because I could see you're kind of doing the parts, you know, but just really try to find that energy, you know. It's kind of leading with the chest or head, but then she has that hat. I think, yeah, we're good. Anyway, that's all. This little thing, like, just really find that energy that you're trying to get, because I think you found the action that you wanted. I could tell, but you know, and this one's really fun. Really nice twist. Very cool. I like it. Now this one's really cute. I like the knees kind of turned in. Yeah, Brianna had some great poses, really fun. And I don't know, I like it. I was gonna say like maybe drop her right shoulder just a little bit, maybe. And I like how you have her arm rather next to her head. That's very cool. I don't know, I like it. I'm not gonna mess with it. Nope, I'm not. I dig it. I think the only thing, and this is just a thing that comes in time, maybe just kind of like that last drawing, you know, try to find that rhythm throughout and really find some energy rather than being too careful with your pieces, like doing the kind of the sketchy outline. Find that motion and try to be confident, okay? Just find those lines of action. But I'm being a little nitpicky, Erica, because I think you got some really good appeal this week. So great job. All right, moving on. Another Erica. Erica Scalco. Hello from Switzerland. I saw that in your note. That looks like it might be a little far over. Let's see here. Let me adjust this real fast here, fellers and ladies. Here we go. Alrighty. What do we got here? We got this one. Got that one. Proportions a little bit. Oh, and you sent a color piece you did for Mermaid. You're gonna trust me with that, all right? I like the. All right, well, okay. I'll save it. We'll talk about it in a second. All right. So this one, I think you got some great stuff going on. You were really listening, I could tell. In the workshop, we talked about angles and really pushing that stuff. Let's see, but I could tell you, let's see what happened here. Tightened it up a little bit when you went to tie it down. And I would draw through. You kind of have the dress thing going on. Here, I'll draw that a little lower. You kind of have the dress thing and the leg kind of sticking out as an afterthought, but that might have been just because of your tie down at the end, but it's just kind of sticking out of the bottom. But when you draw through and you save that costume, right? Dress or whatever she's got on. It could be any fabrics too, you know. It's like draw through, like draw underneath there, you know. She's got the leg on it. You don't have to draw the full everything, but and I could see where you indicated it, but I would really, and I like how you have her feet turned in. That's really cute. So I guess I'm gonna turn my feet and I redraw my calf muscle here. Oh well. But all that to say, get that energy down a little bit. Follow, you know, draw through. And what's fun about your pose, it's like, I think this is one of the party dancing ones, right? And she was like, she had some really fun poses that our model did. But you can imagine, and that was a crazy thick dress she had on for that section, I remember. But it's such a great opportunity. You have that hip out, and this is about the performance side, right? It's like, use that stuff. Have that dress like really reacting to her body. You know, picture it like a bell in a way, you know. But it's moving around and she's moving around. And it's a great opportunity to use. And this is an animation thing, but I think it's also, you know, illustration thing. It doesn't have to be animation stuff. But really use those things like overlap of clothing and hair, right? But being a little nitpicky because I think you've got some really good things going on. You got the nice angles of the hips. Really push that. I can see you're thinking a little bit about anatomy there on her thing. You know, you want to use that anatomy. So keep adding that to your knowledge, you know. And even in gesture drawing, you could still use that anatomy and draw and find rhythm and muscles and things like that, so it doesn't get too flat. Like, hey, I just did an arm, you know. But if you draw more, there's a deltoid wrapping around, and then you have the bicep area. You don't have to go crazy, but it's like you start to find a little bit more rhythm, and it starts to become really alive. You should look up Tom Gately. He's one of my gesture drawing heroes, and he's incredible at that. So anyway, check it out. All right, beyond that, really nice stuff. This one, let's see, what are we doing here? All right, oh, I'm gonna check that chat over here. Okay, I got a question over here. I'll try to answer it while I am from Instagram. Hello. My question is, how do you achieve a balance between drawing the real person and gesture? My professor used to tell me that the movement was there, but I had to look way more to the model. Well, I guess it's depending on what you're trying to achieve. I think if you're, I like that your professor is calling you out on movement, right? Is that what you said? I'm like, yes, that's awesome. This professor is very excited about the movement. But I guess what you're trying to achieve there is like, you know, find the movement first. That's what gesture is about. So gesture is the essence of a pose, right? The essence of the character, the person, whatever. It's thinking more action-minded, right? More storytelling, finding an attitude, like really trying to feel what they're doing, okay? And then if you get that locked in, you know, in a loose, fast, you know, you get your idea down and you communicate movement, right? And life, that's what we're trying to achieve. then you can go in and put all the beautiful muscles and tones and lock down your proportions and likeness. It depends how far you're gonna go. I mean, because all that's important too. We do want to have drawings that go beyond gesture. But if your gesture, if your foundation, just like a house, if your foundation's not good, all the really great little bells and whistles aren't gonna. It's still gonna be flat. So I say bravo to getting the movement first, and then adding to that, like your knowledge of anatomy and trying to find all those things. So great question. So yeah, the two can go very much hand in hand. It doesn't have to be and or unless you're trying to achieve something specific. I mean, you look at some of the old masters too, right? They're lots of storytelling, lots of emotion and passion in their work. That's why they held up after all these centuries, right? It's like the storytelling is there, and that's what we're after. All right, so same idea here, Erica, is I was talking about the other Erica's pose. Finding out what you're leading with the movement, just to push it a little bit, you know what I mean? Like right now I'm sorry, I'm talking about the one on the right here, right? Or the left. This is very straight up and down. If I look and get her chest under her foot, and you have her going forward, it's like, go ahead, push it. I love that you have her looking back. I was just going to say her proportions got a little big on the cartoony side. But I have to say the drawing on the right is very appealing. It's very sweet. I like the little face and everything. And I like that it's subtle. Not everything has to be raw, big and extreme. Subtlety is also beautiful and nice. So I really like that one on the right. So, all right, Erica. My only thought with this one, with your mermaid, I think it's really cool. I love the jellyfish that you did. I'm not going to go in and do color thoughts or anything, but I love the texture you got. Really fun. Some of the tone is really nice. But as far as storytelling, and that's what we're doing here tonight, right? Is where I'm not drawing on your drawing. It's on another layer. I feel bad. I'm trying to make it all fit in the camera, so that's why I keep drawing on top of everybody's stuff. Not trying to be disrespectful. I would just push that arm a little bit, I remember this pose. This was from our beach goth, right? So, like pushing that out, like, oh, this stinky seaweed, right? And it's almost like you're taking out stinky garbage. Like, think of that, like, what would that be like? Oh gosh, I got to do this, but it's like you want to get it further away from you. And I think you can stretch that out just a little bit with the arms. You could even take the inspiration from the model, because you already have it, and maybe change it up a little bit. Like, I suggest to people all the time, like, get out of your seat, at home, or even if you're in a live class or whatever, and strike that pose. Like, how does that feel? Like, when I'm doing this, am I leaning in like she's doing, or should I be leaning out a little bit? Oh God, So you might change the whole line of action of the pose, just to get the story out, And our models, they give us great inspirations, I'm just fixing that sleeve there a little bit. It's wrapping around this way. Yeah, but all that to say, it's a really cool looking illustration. But again, strike that pose, and if you're going for a full-blown illustration, like, maybe take a photograph of yourself. It's like, oh, I did this gesture in my class, but how can I push this and take it to final, you know? So all that to say, I think you could stretch that out, get it a little bit further away from her. But great stuff. Thanks for submitting your work, Erica. I hope you're asleep right now in Switzerland. Okay, let's see. Mohi, awesome. Beautiful drawings this week. My goodness, wonderful. You had some really great stuff. Here, I'm just going to brag on you for a second. See that showing up? I love those little color pieces you did. Really nice, really sweet. I was curious if those were marker or if that was digital. Really fun. But some really nice stuff. I was looking at a whole, as a whole, just maybe as a next step for you. We were just talking a second ago about, here it is, Erica's, was it? I forget now. Maybe it was Eric, the first Erica. There's so many Ericas. I mean, look at that straight. I love it. But great pose, really dynamic. I love it. But start drawing a little bit with anatomy. You know, you got that on the arm a little bit, which is cool. Sorry, I'm drawing on their head there. But try to keep it thin like you have it, but the yeah, just to separate out those forms just a little bit, and not that, you know, we're doing, you know, anatomy classes right now or anything, but it's one of those things, like, it just gives it that a little bit more believability, a little more structure, you know. It's like when I see the tube legs, it starts to take me out of the drawing a little bit, you know. And it's just a little thing. It's like, you know, going from thigh to the calf to the top of the foot, you know, whatever's going on there. So, but all to say, that's just me being a little nitpicky, but really, really nice, fun stuff. This one, I'd have to see the model pose. But I remember this was, I think she was like waving at friends or something like that, like, hey guys, right? So I'm checking those chats real quick. Let's see. Mike E said, do you have any advice on getting better with facial expressions? To be honest with you, yes. It's very much the gesture thing to me. I remember once at Disney a long time ago, and I don't know why I don't do this more often. We did it once in our class, on our Saturday morning class a while back. I've been threatening to do it again, but really quick poses, you know, with the face. Just taking a couple minutes or a minute and do a gesture of a facial expression, like really quick, you know, and really, it's a fun, crazy exercise to do. So I would do that, you know, not just full body stuff, but do it with expressions, you know, quick stuff. And another thing is obviously learning facial structure and, you know, learning how, you know, the things rest on the skull, okay, and really learning about eye mask shapes. You know, you could see that in a lot of cartoon designs and things. That way you could stretch and squash those shapes, you know, in the mouth and everything like that. And really just learning that facial structure. I was looking at some drawings today, actually, and somebody was like, how come my drawing looks flat? And they had actually posted the drawing and just asked that for everybody, which I thought was very humble and brave, and, you know, and I could tell they were thinking flat. They were not wrapping things around and thinking of this as a three-dimensional form, having the eye wrap around the head, you know, as it goes away in space and gets smaller, like perspective. So there's a lot of structure things to really lock in, and then taking that knowledge that you're building and applying the squash and the stretch and things like that. So anyway, all right, Mohi. I've been doodling while I've been talking about facial expressions, but I think I kind of like the lean you have actually on the torso better than where I'm headed here, but the arm looks like it's kind of stuck in there. So I'm almost wanting to, with this kind of a motion, maybe relate the arm more with, like, almost wrap it into the angle there of the, whatchamacallit, the shoulder angle, and kind of have it come out of there. That makes sense. But yeah, it just looks like that arm is just kind of almost an afterthought. But when you lift it up and relate it to that shoulder angle, I think it gives that a little bit nicer of a stretch. That's all. All right, Mohi, give me a run for my money today. Really nice work. Thank you so much. Really nice drawings. Okay, Anna. Anna was so cool and went back in our archives. This was like early, maybe 2021 or something. We had a fireman, like a real fireman, come into the studio and with the gear and everything, and pose for us. That was a tough one. I remember that. That was very tough because it's just, if you've ever seen like fire gear like close up, it's just very bulky. You know, it's really hard to get a good drawing out of it, but you did great. All right, I'm gonna move this over just a little bit. There we go. All right, Anna. There we go. How we doing? Did I move it over good? I guess it didn't need to. Oh well. All right, you're welcome, Mike. Yeah, draw fun. Hey, Ron Draws. I see you over there. Ron Draws is one of our new recruits. Over on YouTube, Dan asked, "Hi Todd, do you offer animation mentoring?" I have in the past. I haven't done that in a while. So maybe someday. I'll do it again. Right now it's just the class, and I tailor it for finding movement and life in our drawings, right? And that translates over into animation and illustration and storyboarding and all that stuff, because it's really foundational. And this is why I fell in love with gesture drawing. And I'd always wanted to do a class, and after doing some animation mentoring, I was like, I'm just going to start this Saturday thing, and we'll do it online and instead of in person. And that was almost 5 years ago, so there you go. All right, Anna. Lovely drawing today. Let's take a look at this one first, then we'll try to get that fire chief going. All right. But yeah, if you can draw well, and I don't care, and I'm kind of going back in the animation mentoring question. If you can draw well, I don't care if you're 2D or 3D animator, right? It's just gonna make your work so much stronger, you know. Like it's a must for drawing two-dimensional animation style, right? Like you need to be able to do that. It's like, hey, I want to be an English teacher. It's like, well, gotta know English, right? So it's like, it's one of those things. It's like a language you have to learn. Okay. Let's see here. I'm just doodling here a little bit. Sorry, Anna. It's getting a little flat to me for some reason. Let's see. Meaning, it's. I feel like I could push the drawing over a little bit, but I don't know. Because what you have here is some pretty sweet attitude. And that dress was crazy poofy, right? It was. It was cool. Really cool shapes. Our model did a costume change in the middle during the model break, and she had like a short skirt with the graduation outfit, and then she went in and got this really poofy, interesting thing going on. Really fun. So I don't have the model pose in front of me, obviously, but I think one thing that can help alleviate flatness is what do we call that? Twinning, right? Like when the arms or the legs are the exact same position, you know? But if you alter some things, it adds a little bit interest and it gets rid of that flat vibe. So it looks like, and I might twist her, and you already have the twist, so I'm just being picky here, but I would maybe push that twist a little bit, right? And that's her glass. So I would either raise up that other arm with the cup higher and straighten that arm out a little bit, or in this case, I'll just try it and lower it. And it's just little things like that sometimes, little decisions we make when we're designing a drawing, you know. But if things are even, all of a sudden it kind of like takes you out of it feeling natural for some reason. And you're like, oh, wait, that's even, you know. And the more you learn like these little drawing tools and things, like you police yourself in your work. Like, what's going on here? Is my silhouette working? Ah, it's not. I can't tell what that is, you know. And then you fix the silhouette. So anyway, all that to say, just a little thing. All right, firemen. I don't have this in front of me either, but I was thinking, even with something this bulky, okay, of a costume or outfit, however you want to. This was the real deal, and I don't have the shape of a fire hat. I was gonna say, like, looking at this earlier, I was thinking, still think about that pose underneath all that stuff, okay? I might just bring that hand out a little bit. I'm just kind of pushing things a little bit, but thinking about his shoulders are kind of dipped down towards us, right? And you have that shape of his, Glenn Villepeu talks about the torso, thinking of it as a bean shape. Glenn Villepeu is like a master figure drawing teacher. He came out when I was at Disney years ago and taught us a few times when I was there, animals and all kinds of, you know, people. And he just really thinks about things in shapes, you know. And when you get this wonderful shape here with the torso, and let's see, that leg is back here, and you know, you relate it, whatchamacallit, it's been a long day, folks, rib cage to your pelvis, and then you could bend that kind of shape together and twist it, like how they relate to each other. And it's a great way to get some solid feeling in your work. But all that to say, think about shapes like that. Think about what's going on underneath all of that. And then I'm going to draw over my bean here. Let's erase that. Phew. You get the idea. Actually, I think yours is better here. Wasn't thinking. Here we go. Come on. I have to drop that arm. But the main idea that I was trying to get across was really drawing still, even though he's covered in all this gear, think about what's going on underneath. And then you could add on like this big crazy jacket, you know, on top of that. And I forget what he was wearing around his neck. It's some fireman cool thing. You know, those big boots. And I think your proportions got a little bit stubby. And then you had his crazy hat thing or whatever. So all that to say, drawing the pose underneath and then applying all the bulk on top of it, whether it's a dress, a giant thing like this, you know, I don't even know what his jacket's doing. I think what you had was the correct way, sorry. That's how it relates to the body here. And you might lose your form because of all these crazy shapes, but your drawing was built on the right stuff, okay? All right, but that was a tough class. I remember that one. That was awesome. RW! I mean Eggy Fox. I know. Eggy Fox is Mohi. I think she went home. Okay. RW! Welcome, welcome. Welcome back. This one, we were talking a little bit earlier about balance, right? Oh wait, I'm gonna check the chats over here in Instagram. What we got? Can you recommend any other good books? I was really impressed after reading Quick Sketching by Ron Husband. You recommended before. Other good books. Well, Walt Stanchfield, Drawn to Life. Where is it? I know I have it. Hang on. It's right here. This is a must. Gotta have it. Walt Stanchfield, Drawn to Life. There are 2 volumes, 1 and 2. He was a master figure drawing teacher, or gesture drawing teacher, at Disney for like decades, and he's since passed on, but he would do a handout after every gesture session for the animators. And I remember when I was working in the Florida studio in the 90s, we would wait, at least I would, for these newsletters to come in from the workshops he would be doing out in California. And I kept like a stack of them. I have a huge stack of them. And it was like secret gold, right? And then all of a sudden, after he had passed and all of that, Disney put them together and made these books out of them. And I was like, the secret's out! All this amazing knowledge. So I can't recommend Walt Stanchfield's notes enough. It's one of those things, you read one and you walk away and you go draw. It's like, it's a lot to take in. And there's great Disney animator gesture drawings in it. And yeah, and you can find some of them, they're posted online. And yeah, you gotta have it. Gotta have it. It's a must. Okay, there's my recommendation. Moving on, RW, thanks for your patience. Here we go. Balance. Torso got a little long, but I love that you were trying to do it. I think we were talking in the class, like pushing the pose and getting into it. With this one, I think it's just a little bit of balance and a little bit of proportion, right? Let's see here. I appreciate your guys' questions tonight. This is good. This is our third week of doing our Red Line Live, our feedback session, and posting it, doing it live with everybody from the different platforms. And so I'm still locking in my tech so I can read your stuff. I think I need like a helper in here to shout out the questions as they come in. All right, so I'm kind of futzing things around on my end over here, RW. Sorry, I'm scratching on your drawing here. Why do I keep doing that? I'm gonna move it up. Oh no, not you. This one. Get out of there. Nope, not you either. Hang on 1 second. I want to quit drawing on everybody's drawings. Oh my goodness. There we go. Get off of there. All right. Wow. Come on, computer. Talk to me, Goose. Whoa. Let's see here. All right, my computer just decided to throw a tantrum. Hang on. Trying to fix things and it made it worse. Hey. Okay, sorry about that. Anyway, what I'm trying to do here, I'm just pushing things around to try to find the balance. So I'm going to stick her butt back maybe just a little bit that way. And we talked a little bit about this during our last Saturday about opposite forces as a drawing tool, right? Like push and pull, action, reaction, squash, stretch, right? Opposite things kind of help sell your motion. I might just, for the sake of it, drop the arm down. And so why the heck did I bring that up? Opposite forces. The reason why, I'm pushing her butt back out a little bit beyond her feet, and the other opposite force is, it's already there, which you have, is going that way, okay? And so I'm not losing any of the movement by giving her a little bit more centered balance. I think we're good, okay? And you could build from there, because you don't want her to fall down, okay? But if I bring her tushy back far enough, that'll help keep her balanced so she doesn't fall over. So that's all. Moving on. Okay. That was pretty cool. You found some attitude in that one. I remember she was telling her friends to be quiet or something like that. This I thought was really nice. I think you caught some really nice movement in those arms, and she was just like celebrating or dancing or something. And I really like this one. I think you did a great job. Let's see. How are we doing on time? I got 1 second here. Doing good on time. Let's do another one. Okay. There was that one. That just looks like you might not have finished it. That's funny. It looks like it's my head on here. Sorry. This one was pretty fun. I think you got the nice angles going a little bit. Let me fix that. That's funny. I look like I'm the graduate. Some of these I got to adjust still. It's just a little thing. I don't know. I'm just being picky and stuff here. Let's see. I don't know. I think you got some nice stuff going on. I just might divvy up the angles just a little bit. We were talking about opposites. I like the legs out kind of a thing you got. Let's see. What would happen if we either did something a little different? I'm looking at just the similar angles you have on her shoulders and her hips. If I were to, not everything has to be exact or extreme opposites, but there's something happens that when you push things around a little bit, it just takes away that flatness. I think we talked about that with one of the other drawings a little bit ago. But I love the energy that you got in it. But maybe just watch out for that angle thing. All right. Well, great work. Yeah, very cool. I think we're good. Good job, RW. Mr. Scott Strube. Awesome. Scott's one of our hard workers. Goes out and draws a lot. Lots of drawing in the wild. Looks like me. I got to fix that. Make it smaller. Scott, I really like the one that's on the bottom there. Let me see. Is that showing up? I got to center that thing. Sorry, buddy. Hang on 1 second. I'm going to shrink that down just a little bit there. I thought you did a great job on that front view there. I remember the model did that pose. Really, really fun. I think you got some good attitude out of it. It's just really loose. It's really free. Really, really nice, man. I dig it. All right, this one, what was I thinking? I think the intention, and I have, and we could take stuff. We don't have to do what the model's saying to do, right? Or implying. If we get inspired, we do something else. But I think this one looks like, I remember she was going, "Oh, are you kidding me? I have to put this ugly graduation gown on," And we were all talking about getting into the head of the moment there. And it was fun because Brianna, our model, was giving us all these fun little scenarios to go with, and that was kind of nice. And but this one, I feel like if I were to look at it just objectively, and I know this is quick, but it's one of those things. It's kind of like I was looking at the mermaid illustration a few minutes ago, and was saying, "Oh, let's get that stinky stuff away from me." And I almost want to push that idea with this pose, like, get this ugly garb away from me, and really just, I'll try to do this fast here. Let me make this a little smaller. Sorry, doing a lot of adjusting tonight. I should have that locked in. Here we go. Try not to draw anybody's drawings. Yeah, again, I'm kind of going off the reservation a little bit with this idea. Sorry. But what if, and this is just for the sake of get this thing away from me kind of idea, what if I were to lean her back to sell that more? And maybe this is what Brianna was doing. How her legs are positioned, but what if I were to do something a little bit more like that? Like, ugh. It's like it gets her away from the garb a little bit because she detests it anyways, and I know and this helps to stage a little bit more of your thing, okay? And it pushes her body language just a little bit, and the thought of what the, she's really inspecting something, okay? Then you can do all the details and things I talked about earlier, right? I don't remember what her hair was doing, but she's like, "I'm too good looking for this thing. I'm not doing that," or whatever. So yeah, that kind of helps stage your clothing just a little bit better. So that's all. Nitpicking you, Scott. Corey H. All right, Corey. Looking at your stuff here a little bit. You got some good movement going on in your sketches, I have to say. This is that pose we just talked about, so maybe I'll do a different one here. This one, I think, this was the party pose, right? And this model, she was like kind of like, hey, waving to her friends, right? Let's see here. Ooh, Ron had a good question. I'm checking those questions real quick. Hi, Todd. Do you know when pushing the pose is not enough or too far? Yes. I guess so. It's one of those things, sometimes you have to push it far and try to break it. I don't know. That's great advice, right? It's one of those things, if you, we say this a lot in different things, either design or animation or whatever, especially animation. I think that's where I learned it. But if you don't push it far enough, right, the pose, your acting, whatever, it's hard to take it further. But if you push it too far, you really go for it, your pose, right? Or your animation, whatever. And it's like, whoa, that was too far. It's a lot easier to dial it in after you've crossed that boundary than it is if you've made it too stiff, you know, or you didn't push your idea. Because to me, this is all about idea making. Okay, gesture drawing is a great exercise for honing and sharpening your idea making skills, and I found that to be true. I have no scientific evidence to back that up, but I'm telling you, because especially one thing I love about our class, it's just self, what do you call that, promotion or whatever, shameless promotion, is that we're doing an hour long of gestures and we're just constantly thinking, how do I push this? What's she thinking? What's this model doing? Da 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 da. And you're pushing the ideas and you're thinking the ideas, right? And um, that's the playground. That's the time to play and push things too far, right? All right. So I think I like what you got here. Sorry, that was a small sermon. Sorry about that. But I feel strongly about it, I tell you. Trying to find something here. Hey. And I don't know if she's waving to friends. That's kind of what I was thinking here, Corey. The maybe she's dancing. I don't quite remember. But it's funny. I think what I was going to say that I think you did in this pose, why her arm got so short in that particular drawing, was you were probably hitting the edge of the paper, which is exactly what I just did. So I was like, well, my fingers are going to be off there somewhere. That was not good on my part. But if you're going to go off the page, then just go with gusto, man. But don't mess with your proportions. Again, if she's really waving, um, I wanted to straighten out this leg a little bit just to kind of get this energy going up. Most important thing is, her waving, her arm, right? And obviously she had this huge gown on. This was the part where she had her graduation robe. But you think about what's going on underneath, and then you can add all that crazy stuff. Because otherwise it's just a really great drawing of a model with really cool folds, and it's like, that's all very important. I get it, but wouldn't it be more fun to have some purpose in the pose and life and action? So, and I'm bringing that up again just to say, think of all that junk first, all that good storytelling, and then all that beautiful fabric and folds can react to the story instead of the other way around. Remember that idea, that's the gold, okay? That's the boss. All right, moving on. Kind of talked about that pose earlier. Yeah, I might lean her, fix that staging. We can move on from that. This one, raising the roof, whoop, whoop. It's like, as she raised it, and again, this is just a body language thing, and I know these are quick, I get it, but it's like, as artists, we have to settle in our own minds, like, what is this model really thinking and doing? And then you're trying to achieve that, And is she raising the roof? Is she dancing? Or is she under arrest? Like, oh my God, what moment is this you're trying to capture, And since I was in class on Saturday, I know that she was raising the roof, man. Let's see. So, whoop, whoop. I don't know if I could capture that myself. Let's try. And that question from Ron Draws about how far is too far, do you know when? It's like, go ahead. Like Walt Sandfield was talking about his book, one of his collections of notes, I should say, is he would say the breaking of the barrier is up to you, right? It's like, push it. If she's raising the roof, what do you do? Like kind of, whoop, whoop, like palm out. Or maybe I'll just do what you did, palm in. Maybe she's dancing, looking down, like. Maybe this hand is more up. No, I feel like I've committed to the palm in thing, so I'm going to do it. Trying to find the right stuff here. It's going to get rid of. I don't like that. Oh, I can erase. What? Yeah, and I think we talked about this earlier with some other drawings, other students. It's like, break it up a little bit. Like here your arms are a little bit similar, right? But break that shape up a little bit, and I think that'll be good. So, you know, and I think she still, it looks like she still has a robot. It looks like we're about, this will be our last drawing this evening. But yeah, flap it around, man. If she's dancing. You know. Anyway, I might be misinterpreting your intent there, but there you have it. All right. Well, I can't believe it. It's the top of the hour here. It is the top of the hour. Thank you for joining us on at the end of the day here, at least on the East Coast. And RW, you're welcome. I saw you in the chat there. Awesome, awesome. And yeah, thanks for joining us. This was good. Really great work this week. Oh, let me do a little bit of housekeeping. Just really quickly here. A little housekeeping. Join us if you'd like to. Let's see. This week we are doing our last mermaid-inspired theme, and we are going to be doing Serenity on May 31st, which is this Saturday. And you can join us live or catch the recording, which is always available the same day. And we are going to be doing the character River Tam from the show Firefly. Also, what is that? The movie Serenity. So that's where my mind went when I heard that mermaid prompt, Serenity. I was like, oh, it's got to be from that movie, you know, which is the show Firefly. Serenity was the name of the ship that all those characters were in. So if you don't know that show, it was awesome. And it didn't live very long, but it was really great characters. River Tam is a troubled teenager / science experiment / superpowers and action and stuff, and really fun. So anyway, all that to say, it'll be a great class. We have a great model coming in, and that's it. So you guys have a great week. Let me check that chat one more time over here on Instagram and YouTube. Let's see. Who would be your top 3 animators, digital or traditional? Good grief. Now I gotta think things. Top 3 animators, traditionally. Gosh, there's so many. Obviously, I'm a huge fan of the 9 Old Men. I love Frank Thomas for his acting, Milt Kahl for his draftsmanship and his acting. He was awesome. One of the best, or the best, a lot of people would argue. James Baxter, one of my favorites. Just an absolute genius and such wonderful performance. I have to throw out Byron Howard. He was the director of Zootopia and Bolt and Tangled, and I knew him first as an animator back in the Florida studio, and he just has so much appeal in his work, and they would actually give him really challenging scenes to work on, even on other characters that he wasn't working on, just to put all that acting and beautiful appeal. Just what a brilliant animator. Gosh, caught me on the spot here. There's so many others. Amazing. And as far as digital animators, gosh, I don't know. Which is terrible to say. I know there's amazing ones. I'm old school, man, and I commit the drawings and the styles and the acting and to my memory. So I'll have to think about that one. Maybe I can answer that this weekend. Anyway, all right, you guys rock. Go to bed, brush your teeth, and join us on Saturdays, or we'll see you back here next week, and we'll chat more animation. I really appreciate the questions tonight. That was awesome, and you guys have a good one. Thanks.